Amon Khan here for seconds out at the Mayweather Gym in Las Vegas. Pleasure to be in the company of Jeremiah Dreamland Milton. Jeremiah, good to see you. Training, sweating, dried up now. How's life treating you?
Yeah. Once again, no complaints on this side. Great session today. Do it again tomorrow.
It's always a complaint for a fighter to have when they haven't got a fight date locked in. What is the latest in terms of you getting back in the ring?
Um, so, dude, I have like everybody, you know what I'm saying, looking for offers, looking for this, looking for that. And I'm about to narrow in on something. Like I said, I'm fighting in August.
So yeah, you were just saying, of course, you're looking to get that date locked in.
Yeah, looking to get something locked in for August. Right now, we just been grinding as if, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. With the boxing, a lot of things they can say it's on, and then, somebody doesn't do something, shit just falls apart. But yeah, right now it's just looking like August for myself. Working on something big with a relatively known name throughout the heavyweight division. So I think I can probably secure that.
Speaking just off camera, as we were with my colleague as well, John, just talking about, of course, you're very much trusted amongst the top level heavyweights to be brought in for sparring to help them. But what is the process like in terms of balancing helping another fighter, but also progressing your own career and helping yourself?
Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing I've had to, ask myself, what does that mean? Because I've had people criticize it here and there. I've had people, say, oh, he's got a lot of experience, So I think everybody can make up their own narrative with it. I had to figure out what it meant for me. And for me, I don't really move unless it's, one of the top dogs that I trust, now. Because you have to prioritize yourself in this game. I helped a lot of people make a lot of money with a lot of names, a lot of big fights. And, my residuals don't really change from doing that. But what can happen is you can be an avoided guy. You could be a guy that, they think, oh, his IQ, this and that, and the third. There's a lot of pros and cons, But your main thing is just checking your circle and checking on your mental. If your mental's off or whatever, then all that stuff becomes a negative. But if you're doing great, then all of it is a positive.
You've got this potential fight lined up, but outside of that, if you draw a number of circles, you eventually paint a target. Who are the targets? Who are the fighters that are on your priority list, especially with a thriving British scene right now? Is there a number of names over our side of the pond that you're looking to fight?
They need to get some more Americans in the mix, Right now, they're only showing love, really, to Big Baby Miller. His name gets tossed in there with just about everybody. Jared Anderson is on the radar, as Turkey Al-Sheikh. But, as far as the British guys goes, Moses Itauma is kicking up dust. Of course, he has a great fight coming up with Dillian White. All things go as planned with that. That's a great name on his resume. I'd always be open for a fight like that just because, you want to test yourself against the best, who they claim and who's the best and stuff like that. I don't know, though, but Fabio Wardley, another great guy over there. He's continued to shine. Everybody's on to other things, though. So, I don't know. You gotta have a buzz. 'Cause I notice calling people out in this sport sometimes, if they want you, they'll get you, but the promoters know how to move around you. So maybe doing some more TikToks or something like that will help.
I don't particularly see too many fighters calling for Moses Itauma. I think most seem to appreciate his talent and feel that he's on the rise to the top, as the promoters are saying. But is there gaps that you've seen that you feel you could exploit if that fight was presented to yourself?
Absolutely. He's a young, hungry, explosive kid that is enjoying himself, I think he has the right mentality. I've sat with him, and it's not me. There's no malice in it. It's just the name of the game, We fight. As fighters, we fight. But I think he's well-grounded, and I don't see him, getting outside of his element, so he's going to train. But you have to exploit the weaknesses that are there, and everybody has them. Everybody has them, no matter what. I've seen some things, that I've kind of clocked that I think that I could take advantage of. But you never know until you're in there. And, I don't know why they gave it to Mike Balugan. No knock on any fighter, It's just there's guys that show up and can do something, and then there's guys that kind of just get moved out of the way. Um, who are you gonna be on tonight? And what did Hamza say? He said, if I get a Canelo fight, I'm not gonna run from him. I'm not gonna just try to get a points victory. I think there's certain opportunities that you just get up for naturally, and you want to be tested. Turkey, all these people are asking for somebody to come out there and lay their heart out. Well, put somebody out there that's gonna tell you they're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and back it a little bit. I don't know, but on the night, what I'm saying, I think that's just a fight that I would be up for. And anybody over there in the London scene, really, because it's such a great boxing scene.
I spoke to Shannon Briggs the other week in Turkey, and he was saying that he and Gerald Miller were discussing Moses Itauma, and there was a rumor floating around that he got dropped in sparring. Did that rumor land on your ears, or Jeremiah? Did you hear about that?
No, I couldn't imagine. If he got dropped, I would only see him getting dropped maybe with like a little flash knockdown or something. I couldn't imagine him getting dropped heavily. I don't know who's over there punching like that. But sparring rumors are sparring rumors. Sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. But sparring is sparring. And even my experience, what I'm saying, I spar with so many people. I can say so many different things. But a lot of these guys, even on the night of the fight, they've impressed me. They've turned out to be a different guy now. And that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with Ben Davison. They like to control a lot of things in sparring, though. So, like, nobody's going to usually have an unfair advantage in there. No weird gloves or nothing like that. But, hey, things can happen. It can happen, But he's sharp. I don't see nobody with that type. I don't know. There has to be a certain style that gives him a problem. And I think I possess that.
Just a little tidbit there. You said just inspiring and presenting weird gloves. Is that an experience that you've had before where you sparred and you've been given weird gloves?
Hey, I get over there one time, and I'm not even going to say which camp I was in, but, if you check how many times I've been over there, maybe you'll know what I'm talking about. I go over there, and, I bring my equipment, and I check it. I always check it. As a fighter, you bring your gloves to the coach, and you say, hey, coach, what I'm saying? This is the gloves I got. Are these okay? They say, yeah, no problem. Boom, boom, boom. And then, the fighter, he puts on his gloves. I'm looking at him. Usually you're going to have somebody else to speak up for you. But when you're over there by yourself, they'll try to take liberties, bro. They'll try to do their own thing. And so I'm like, them gloves look old as shit. But I don't say nothing. I'm just boxing. Boom, boom, boom. But I'm touching the guy up, Then it's like, hey, I think we need to change your gloves. Give me a fresh pair out of the package, fresh pair. And this guy's gloves was so old, like they sat there, and imagine you got white, like a cream white, that had been set in the sun, and now they've stained brown because they're so old. The leather is worn. Yeah, aiming for my head, trying to knock me out. Didn't happen. But at the same time, it's just it's the nature of the beast, Sometimes they want that guy to feel confident, to not doubt himself, what I'm saying? Give him that little extra edge in sparring so he'll believe he'll do that in the night. But also, I've seen guys in many accounts knock out a sparring partner, what I'm saying? Knock out a sparring partner. Never me. But I've seen it. And then they'll think, oh, it's going to be like that in the fight. And then they drink that poison and they die on that poison. They look for that shot all night because it happened. And it was never there to begin with. It just happened, So sparring is it's an interesting beast sometimes.
Were you angry about that when you clocked that from your point of view? That was, quote unquote, a setup, essentially?
Yeah, it's weak shit, but I'm also getting paid, so I want to keep my money, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get my money, and I never really felt like I was in danger, like not like that. Like I've always been super confident, in doing my part, and as long as I'm comfortable, what I'm saying, then I'm gonna find a way to make myself, okay with certain things. I need to be more protective over myself at times, I've allowed myself to sometimes be railroaded as well, because I got so much confidence in myself. I've got so much belief in my abilities. So I'm like, I see what you're doing here, but I don't care, which isn't always the best,
Completely unrelated note, the second name that you mentioned in that conversation, there's two names that you're looking at, Moses Talman. Fabio Wardley was the second name. He had the fight with Justice Huni where he was being direct, getting outboxed in that fight, but he used his boxing prowess as well to find a big punch and finish Justin Huni in the fight. What do you see in Fabio Wardley that you feel you could exploit too?
Just the inexperience. I mean, we seen how that fight was going, but the thing about it is, he's an amazing fighter because, and I gotta say that, I say that with excitement because it's only like, here's the thing, you losing, but you didn't give up. He kept looking for it, he kept trying to set it up, he kept trying to work it out, figure it out, and he did. Now here's the thing: when you go over to London, UK, you know what I'm saying? You can't breathe wrong over there because Justin Huni touched the canvas and it was over with. Yo, hey, man, you don't mess with the church's money. That's a famous expression, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's here or there, but you just don't play with the church's money. And that was an in-house call. They jumped to Frank. Oh, yo, everybody thought it's over with. No. You don't get to stand back up, dog. You touch the canvas, winning every round, the fight is over. That's how we all saw it. But shout out to Justin Huni. He didn't make a fuss about it. But I'd have been pissed, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure it was round 10. Maybe he got up on his feet. He do a little wiggle for a couple rounds and then probably get a draw just because of the way things work. But that's not Fabio's problem. Fabio is just doing a job. So, again, no, all fairness to him, he stuck it out and the ref made a decision. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I got to keep that in mind. If I ever get an opportunity to go over there, you might be going against some extra things. It just seems like it sometimes. But I'm up for all challenges,
Fair play, Jeremiah. Let me get your breakdown on a big fight happening this weekend in the form of Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois 2, the rematch this time for the undisputed heavyweight crown. A lot of talk from a British perspective about Daniel Dubois and the momentum he's been on, the fighters he fought and the wins he's got since the defeat to Oleksandr Usyk. And of course too about Oleksandr Usyk and his greatness, but the feeling that maybe he might have slipped a little bit in the ring because of age, but still being a very high level operator. Is that your read on the fight? What do you think this fight comes down to for the winner to get their hand raised?
See, here's the thing. I haven't seen a lot of build up in the same sense because there's been some major fights happening around this fight as well. So the coverage has kind of been lacking. I wish they would get back to letting the media in on more just so that we can see a little bit what's happening. But one thing about Usyk is I don't see him slowing down that much. If he slowed down a little bit, he's still got one of the best gas tanks in the entire heavyweight division. Nobody finishes a fight like him. If you do not, I always bet against him actually till around round 6. And I always say, if you do not get him out in the first 6, you're not gonna win because he's gonna find a way to kick the next gear in, and he's gonna box better than he did in the first few rounds with you. He's a phenomenal finisher down the stretch. But here's the thing about Dubois. That guy has been on fire, And I think with his focus and his ability not to panic in there as much anymore because he used to panic, and I think that's how you get stopped with a jab is you just panic. But whatever it is that he's found, whether it was his father, whether it was just Don, they're tapped into something. Kieran Farrow over there, they're definitely tapped into something. And yeah, he's just super spiteful. And I know one thing about it, he has the power. You know what I'm saying? If any heavyweight has the power, he has the power. And he's always full of confidence. But Usyk is a master of staying mentally grounded. And, who knows? I think it's a close fight, but it's not even close after round 6.
I'd like to push you on that point about Dubois and the panic that maybe he once had and the confidence that he's built from it as a fighter, from fighter's perspective, and maybe even Usyk's perspective. How would he look to put that panic back in Daniel? Do you think that's a weakness he can maybe exploit this weekend, or is that something that's shielded enough from a Dubois perspective that he can overcome anything that Usyk tries in terms of trying to put him in that sort of mode?
I say if you're Usyk, just continue to overwhelm him like you did before. Like, you know, he does that with everybody. He just overwhelms you with volume. Daniel will definitely be frustrated. He will have moments where he's frustrated. I think we saw it in the Jarrell Miller fight where he was about to panic and phase out again. But out of nowhere, he just came back. And, I mean, he got regrounded. And he ended up stopping Jarrell Miller. You know, but again, all the signs were there for him to do the typical Daniel thing. And I mean, everybody giving him stick about being a quitter and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's been dead. But in that fight, it was reasonably, from my perspective as a fighter, I seen it. I seen what everybody was talking about. And then it just went away. Then Filip Hrgović, it wasn't there. It wasn't present. AJ, it wasn't there. It wasn't present. I don't think he gets stopped this one. I think he can lose the decision, but I think he's going to fight to the end. And maybe he won't have the stamina to be super competitive, but I don't see him getting stopped. I just don't see him getting stopped. Now, Usyk stops him again. Man, what a guy, bro. What a guy.
In the launch press conference, there was an interesting point where Don Charles' son, George Fox, sort of stepped to Oleksandr Usyk, and it ended up being a little bit of a trade of words, but he mentioned something a little bit funny. He said to Oleksandr, look, you bring 4 of your guys, we'll meet in London, I'll bring 4 of mine. Now, Jeremiah, if you had a phone call from Oleksandr Usyk's team and Daniel Dubois' team, and they said, look, Jeremiah, we want you on our team for this 4v4 that's happening in London, whose side would you go to, and who are the other 2 fighters you would bring in with you?
Oh, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna have to go with Daniel because I didn't broke bread with the man. I didn't ate with his father. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring Jamie TKV, even though because he's already there. You know what I'm saying? He's already over there. Let's see. The other fight, I'm gonna bring my boy Johnny Rice and bring him out of retirement. If you know about him, look up Johnny Rice. Great 3-fight win streak. You know. Then let's see. Who would be the last guy? Man, it's hard to pick from the States. Maybe, you know, if we can get Chisora over, we can get Ward Chisora. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? He might be busy, though. He'll probably show up fucking kicking everybody's ass. Who knows? Yeah.
They're just turning windmills.
Yeah. He probably not going to be on any teams. He'll be like, fuck you guys, everybody. Everybody's getting their ass kicked. That's probably Chisora's mentality. But nice to show up with him. And I could probably sit back, you know, if Chisora's there.
Jeremiah, pleasure to speak to you. Thanks so much for speaking to Texas. Looking forward to seeing you back in the ring. Thank you so much once again. Much appreciated, sir.
Absolutely.